Hello, and welcome to Bluestocking Stories, Mary Baldwin University's podcast about the people and stories that make our community. I'm glad to have you listening as I interview Jaden Ignacio and Quentin Hart, who have played together on the ultra-successful Fighting Squirrels men's basketball team and are now both earning their MBAs at MBU. Jaden, Q, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Before we get into the college experience with basketball and classes and everything, I actually want to talk about how you ended up at Mary Baldwin. I know recruitment for D3 basketball, lots of visits, there's lots of competition. So how about we start with Jaden? What was it like ending up at Mary Baldwin? How did that happen for you?
Well, in high school, it was tough at first. Just overall, just getting recruited and just getting just my name out there and just awareness to my game. I started picking up a couple other Division III offers like the end of my junior year, going into my senior year. Finished out with having three Division III offers out of high school. And I was able to visit three schools, including Mary Baldwin, Mary Baldwin, the visit was actually online through FaceTime. But just being able to...
This was the pandemic still, right?
Which was tough. I mean, compared to being able to visit other schools in person, it's like a whole different, first impression. That relationship I built with Coach Griggs and just the fit I saw with the school really drew my attention. And I'll let Q say his part of the story too, but after I committed to Mary Baldwin, maybe a few days later, Q texted me. He was like, "Yo, you committed?" I'm like, "Oh, you got offered too?" He was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's team up." So
how did you know each other before we get to Q's side of the story?
We played AAU together, almost like travel.
The
summer basketball stuff. We played, I think, for a year, but through that, all the traveling, we got to spend so much time together.
So you grew up sort of near each other in Northern Virginia and played AAU travel team together.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. And Q, how did you end up with Mary Baldwin as your top choice?
Similar to Jaden, it was kind of tough to kind of get your name out there during the pandemic and all that. But I will say that I started pretty late my recruitment process, trying to send out film and reach out to coaches. I was just kind of being patient, but Coach Griggs came up to me at one of my rival high school games against South Lakes versus Herndon, and I thought it was a great opportunity. I actually got to visit campus before it got completely shut down for virtual visits, so I got to take a look at it. I just thought it was a great option.
Now, it's interesting that you say that because my next question is sort of about how it kind of was a weird situation you were coming into, right? I mean, aside from, like we've mentioned a couple times, the pandemic, you also have this team that wasn't fully a team yet, right? So what was that? Can you explain that a little bit and then walk us through the steps along the way, to really being a full competitive team that went to the national tournament?
Yeah, for me it was tough. Again, not even being able to visit, in person. So, coming into campus, it was kind of blindsided, and I was kind of coming in with not that much clarity, and almost see it as kind of a gamble of what I'm doing, because I don't know how campus is. I don't know how coach actually is in person. I don't know some of these other guys. We're all coming in as freshmen on this team, and I don't know how good we'll be.
It's not even a team with history.
Exactly.
Right? You don't know, 5 years ago they went to the conference championship.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so, with all that, it's just really trusting the process and just kind of building our way up. And just through the years, it's been tough, especially our freshman year. It was tough. I mean, we had a losing record. We learned so much, but at the same time, we were able to grow together and learn together. And I really feel like that's a big reason why we were so successful as the years went by.
Yeah, I would say I saw the startup of the new program more as an opportunity for growth rather than trying to follow in other people's footsteps and kind of meet expectations. The opportunity to come in to a program with no history and kind of be able to create those footsteps for those behind us, I thought that was a great opportunity. And, most guys might not want to do that. They might not want to go 2-9 or 5-20, but ultimately that led us to be able to win a championship.
Now, before we get further into basketball stuff, can you just tell us, the audience, what positions are you playing currently? What positions have you been, rotated through?
Yeah, so for most of my college career, I've been, point guard at the one spot. There were times or spans of games where coach saw me best kind of off the ball at the two to kind of score more. But for the most part, I've just been a point guard.
Yeah, for me, I've mainly just been alongside him playing the two guard, the shooting guard, playing off the ball, coming off screens, just more so shooting. But as he mentioned, there were just some games where, due to the scout, I would maybe run the one or bring the ball up some.
Now, it's not a sports podcast, but I do have a couple questions. One of the big challenges for this team has been being undersized.
Yeah.
Especially last year with the tournament run. How have you guys, how were you addressing that last year? What, obviously it's a challenge that you can't directly address, so you have to find different ways to try to work around it and emphasize your strengths. So what kind of lessons did you learn from that, or what did you guys do?
I would say from a mental aspect, it was more so like no excuses. So, there's a lot of undersized players in Division III basketball, and, you can't make excuses for yourself to not win the basketball game. Those guys, they get dressed like you, they get in the gym like you, they eat like you, they study like you, they go to class like you. So, they might be a little bigger than you, but there shouldn't be any excuses to your limitations. It's just you versus them.
Yeah, I agree. We've actually struggled with this undersized kind of thing for pretty much the whole time we've been at Mary Baldwin.
Yeah.
From our center spot being undersized to me definitely being undersized. And it's been tough, but as Q said, no excuses. And at the same time, like, we really got to lock in on scouting reports all the more, knowing each other all the more, being able to play together. And then going back to strategy, like, sometimes, we're trying to shoot more threes while they get their twos and just kind of getting up more shots, getting more possession, just playing that long run game and really trying to strategize around it just to find an advantage, find an edge.
What do you think is the biggest lesson that you're coming out of your collegiate basketball career with, as far as, how to approach things mentally?
I think the biggest lesson, which is definitely a life skill that I've learned, is being uncomfortable. And, from start to finish, it's just been uncomfortable. And being able to get out of our comfort zone and really grow and really do things that we don't want to do but we know we need to do, and really have that discipline, really allowed us to, all the more mesh together and really, really get, that much more of a leverage on opponents, just being uncomfortable, doing the dirty work, doing the hard stuff, waking up super early, staying late at night, getting in extra conditioning, all this stuff, doing team-led stuff when coach is not around, and just being together, being able to just keep our head down and stay persistent in our work and just be uncomfortable is like the biggest lesson I've learned. And it shows with all the success we've had.
When you talk about lessons learned from as long as we've been playing basketball, it's almost like an endless amount of things that I've been able to learn from this game and playing with so many different people. But my key takeaway would probably just be the importance of, as Jaden mentioned, like togetherness and leadership. This sport's not a one-man army. It's 20 dudes, it's 16 dudes, it's assistant coaches, it's the manager, it's everybody together working as a one-headed horse. So, yeah, just the importance of working together and collaboration has been a big thing.
Have you guys found it challenging, I guess I should ask first, have you found it challenging being a student athlete, trying to succeed in the classroom and on the court at the same time?
Yeah, I feel like it's inevitable for student athletes to not really feel that challenge at least once in their student athlete career.
Sure.
When midterms come up, when, your semester classes are loaded and, it's crunch time in basketball, is like, you really got to be in the gym, or you're in a slump in basketball. Like that happened to me last year where I pretty much had like my biggest slump of my career, where I was playing bad, I was missing shots, I was so much in my head. We had games before Thanksgiving break and Christmas break, and, to admit it, I was already on vacation and my head wasn't in the right space. And it was just like, it was a depressing moment for me, especially with, school being loaded as well, and me not being, on top of my stuff with school. So, on both sides, being a student and an athlete, I was kind of, in that big hole. But again, that comes back to just being uncomfortable and being able to figure that out myself, which I was able to do.
I'm imagining probably a pretty similar story for you, Q.
Right, yeah. Being a student athlete's tough. It has its challenges. But like Coach Griggs and Coach Eco have been able to kind of teach me over my 5 years, kind of like you just have to be grateful for the opportunity to have those struggles. There's people that walk around campus who wish that they did have practice after they left class, or they did have to go to lift, or they had to get up at 6 a.m. So it's kind of like, everybody has their own different kind of struggle. But some struggle you have to be grateful for because it makes you into a better person.
Now, how does the team, obviously you cooperate to play the sport together, but how does the team work to, support each other off the court?
I think we get together a lot as a team, actually. I think we hang out a lot. We lean on each other a lot. We ask questions. We help each other in the best way we can.
So what's that look like? Like, I mean, are we talking about like late night study sessions type of thing, or more along the lines of social support?
I think both, I would say. Currently, I work down in the library in the Academic Resource Center. So a lot of guys come down there and get help, and I kind of can help them find out which person they need to talk to in order for them to be successful on the academic side. Just small little things here and there that kind of build up throughout the weeks. It goes a long way in building team chemistry.
Yeah, 100%. Q touched on, the little things, and I feel like we did a lot of little things these past years, which were the big things that ended up happening. We'll go out on weekends, we'll plan big things, movie night, this and that. But most of the time it's just, you want to come over, you want to hang out, you want to chop it up. And those little things, those little segments of just spending quality time together and figure out how to spend, good time together without, that many entertaining things, may say. But, it's those little things that add up, I would say.
Yeah, late night cookout runs and, getting food
that
together.
Cookout. You guys are happy for that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it seems like you guys do spend a lot of time together. Just a couple weeks ago, I got a handful of pictures sent to me by Chris Lassiter.
At the YMCA, yeah.
And one of the reasons that Chris, he's a local sort of, used to be a reporter, he works at the Community Foundation now. One of the reasons that he sent that over to us is because of the way it's sort of symbolic of the community involvement that you guys have been building up over these years. And you were at the Y, I think you were playing with some kids, or there were some kids around that were like...
Yeah, there was some young guys in there that were watching us hoop a little bit.
So what does that mean to you?
I mean, it's honestly everything. It sounds cliche, but it does mean a lot to us. And even if it's just one kid, all it takes is one kid to be inspired by who we are, what we do. And that's, all it takes to get our gears going and for us to stay motivated. We don't need this big following to, want to do good and do better. And, okay, now, I see everyone's following me now. I want to, even be more successful. I mean, we do it for ourselves. We do it for each other. And then, we don't need a large following like mentioned before. Just all it takes is one. Especially at the elementary school. We'll be out with them at recess and we'll play a little basketball or even like other sports, football, tag. But just to see them, smile, with smiles on their face, having a great time, the oohs and ahs, the wows of just, us just playing basketball outside. And then maybe just when they ask for, your autograph afterwards because they're just so inspired of, they don't know who we are. They don't know, what college we play for, but, it means the world to us.
I love going over there and volunteering with the kids and seeing the smiles on their faces when we walk in. It's just great to see that what we do and all the hard work we put in is not only going towards the university or to the program, but also to the community as well. So we want to leave that good, long-lasting impression for those kids to inspire others when they get in our shoes.
Yeah, because, when I was in elementary school, I would kill to have an opportunity for, other college players or basketball players in general to come visit and say what's up because, when I was in elementary school, I never got that. And I love the game, but, I didn't really have that many people around me or didn't get that opportunity to kind of see higher levels of basketball and be more inspired. So that's what I kind of put myself in their shoes and, give them what I never had but wish I could.
100%.
Just for fun, who inspired you guys growing up?
I have to say my mom.
Yeah.
I grew up in a single-parent household with my mom and my sister and my grandparents. So my mom worked so hard for the family, and that's the only thing that keeps me going to be good. So I can give her a better life than, she has right now. So keep working, stay hard.
Quentin, you're almost bringing a tear to my eye here because I was expecting you to say like Chris Paul or something. Like I was looking for a basketball player, honestly, but that's the right answer probably. How about you, Jaden?
No, I'm on the same route, man. My dad, my grandpa, my uncle, they've been such role models, such leaders in my life, in all aspects of life. Basketball, school, church, lifestyle, everything. They've really raised me and molded me to the man I am today, and I can never thank them enough.
I have one more question about the scholastic experience, being a student athlete. What's your advice for incoming student athlete coming into college? Obviously it's a totally different environment than high school. You've got all this independence, but then you've got all this responsibility, both for your academics and for the team. What kind of advice, what were the mistakes that you guys made, and what's the advice that you think that you would give to somebody?
Do not procrastinate. I'm a grad student, and it still gets me every now and again, procrastination. But giving advice to young student athletes, I would just say communicate. There's been times where I've just, communicated to my teacher that, yes, I procrastinated, and I accepted fault for that. And they were able to kind of see that as an opportunity for growth and allow me to build off of that and allow me to work on that type of skill. So if you're able to communicate those type of faults and take responsibility for it, it'll take you a long way in being a student athlete.
A piece of advice would definitely just be take things day by day. It's a lot. It's a huge workload on both sides, being a student and an athlete. And the saying, if you try to chase two chickens, you'll catch none. So just kind of taking things day by day, step by step. Just one at a time. It's a lot. And, with each assignment you get, with each practice that's coming up, with each, other stuff you're doing with clubs, or if you're in a relationship, things get tough and things load up. But to be able to kind of just step back and, take things one at a time and one step at a time, it'll really, guide you through it.
So now talking about Mary Baldwin a little bit in more detail, obviously we talked about how you found Mary Baldwin, how you ended up here, but you also stayed here, right? So what makes you, what about Mary Baldwin have you liked? What is it that has kept you here at Mary Baldwin for these years?
It's special, man. I mean, on the outside looking in, people may see, it's a small school, not that many students. A lot of people think, it's not in a good area, but just the uniqueness of that and just, finding joy in that. And, it's really the people that make it all worth it. And just to be, lucky and blessed enough to be around such a good group of guys year to year, with good coaches and even good peers outside of basketball has just been so special. And even going into, the academics, we go to a smaller school, so it's such a bigger opportunity for us to get closer with our professors and seek advice easier. And even then, I've been so close with my professors and been able to, just sometimes just go to their office and chop it up for a little bit. Just to have that opportunity, that luxury has just, made my experience, all the more so special.
Yeah, that's always been, for me, that's always been the answer, is the relationships that you can have with these people that at other colleges, you don't always have the opportunity to, like you said, talk to a professor after class, or not even, we're not even talking about office hours, but actual let's have a conversation. That's not always available. And it's nice that we have that at Mary Baldwin. Are there any professors in particular or classes in particular that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, Dr. Branch has been, by my side through, my first 4 years. She's been so great, helping me through each step. And, she knows a lot about, the Filipino culture as well. So we talk about that a lot, and that's helped us, get closer together. And every year we have a faculty and staff game where we each bring, a faculty or staff member on campus to kind of, bring them out there, show our appreciation. And I think I've had her for maybe 2 years. I brought her out there.
Had to do the second, yeah.
Had to. She's been so good.
I know the faculty love the faculty staff appreciation. I've heard faculty in faculty meetings talk about man, they're so excited to get picked. For you, Q, I got to assume you love the people. Is there anything extra outside of that you could point to as something that's really kept you excited about Mary Baldwin?
Outside of the people, it's just I feel like small universities and small communities are underrated a lot. Everyone wants to go to the Dukes and the Virginia Techs and the University of Tennessee's. Where they have a lot of events in big cities and a lot of stuff going on. But when it comes down to what you need to do academically from a future standpoint, those small classrooms and relationships with professors go a very, very long way. I can list off a few professors that I could probably text right now and go grab lunch with, and they've really impacted me a lot, for sure.
I've heard you kind of mention it a couple times, the social aspect of life on campus, that you've pointed out how a lot of people have pretty strong assumptions about it's a small school, there's not a lot to do, you're not going to have fun. Seems like you guys have plenty of friends, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad I was right about that. It would have been embarrassing if you were like, nah, it's just us. But one of the things that's been really inspiring for me about the work you all have done, especially with the basketball team, but also just you all as a student body, I think you really are seeing a different kind of community energy at Mary Baldwin in recent years. And I actually, if you had to point to one example, I have to say it's how the student body came around the basketball team last year, especially in those last few games leading up to the conference championship, right? What was that like?
Man, it was such an experience. It was like a dream. It was amazing. That last week or week and a half of the conference tournament, the support was like never before. And, we can never be more thankful for, the MBU community, the Stanton community, for, the constant support that they gave. I mean, we were going out there with 45 minutes left to warm up, and the stands were already packed.
Already full. I had to get the president to give me a seat.
It was crazy. I mean, seats were reserved. People were, there was standing space. People were watching, from up top on the window from the gym.
People were in the other room in the pack.
There was an overflow.
On the TV.
It was crazy. It was such a crazy experience. And that's low-key, that's why I like, that's the good thing about having kind of like a smaller gym. It gets loud in there, especially when it's packed out like that. It can get really loud. And that's really where we found a huge advantage, especially in the championship game, because we were turning up in there.
Yeah. Without all those fans and support and people there supporting, I don't think we play as well in that game. There's a lot of jitters. We hadn't beat this team before. They beat us twice in the conference in the regular season. But with how could we not feel confident with everybody there supporting? How could we not bring the energy? Even if we lacked energy, you guys gave us. You fueled us even more every possession. Yeah. And that was one of the games where I felt most in shape, just due to adrenaline and everything going through my body. So
I'm not sure if the fans made you more in shape. I feel like
Oh, you'd be surprised, man. Q really, really feeds off of the crowd, man. If you look at videos of the championship, even the whole tournament, when Q gets a good play, or even when Q's on the bench and we make a good play, you can through the videos, through pictures, through the film, Q is just going crazy. He's feeding off the energy. He's allowing us to feed off of him. So, he got a high motor, and that's due to the community that we have.
Now, I want to turn the conversation to the future. a little bit. Obviously, right before we started the recording here, we were talking a little bit about it's preseason for you guys on the basketball team. A lot of transition happening still. New coach, bunch of new players. Walk me through it a little bit. What's been going on?
Just trying to get used to each other. Finding understandings of, you meet new people come in. It's not the same as last year. That's fine. It's just adversity. Just trying to get through that. Me and Jaden have plenty of conversations with Coach Eco. Love that guy. He's great. He's awesome. He's going to be a very good coach in this program for a long time.
Now, I'm not going to ask you what's Coach Eco doing better, because it's not fair to ask about coaches. Yeah, obviously you had tons of success. A lot of pressure on the team to keep it up, I'm sure, internally. We as a community, we're proud of whatever you do, of course. But what is Coach Eco bringing to the table that's different for you guys this year?
He's very fiery.
Yeah?
He's very, very honest. He's not afraid to call you out on the spot or bring you to his office and have that one-on-one honest meeting. Not saying that Coach Griggs didn't. Coach Griggs was great in that. But Coach Eco is just, it's almost like another level of it. And it ultimately helps us, having those uncomfortable conversations, those tough conversations where,
So that's not, so you don't find you're not irritated or offended by that being in your fifth year or being,
Yeah, you can't be. Especially being as fifth year guys, we know how to approach it, how to take the criticism, understanding that it's only for the better of our growth. Especially as leaders for this team. But yeah, he's been great. I think it's especially for returners, not only me and Q, but the rest of the guys that are coming back for their second, third year. Having Coach Eco and having this kind of reset, almost like a new team, keeps us disciplined and allows us to not get content with our position, with our role, with our work ethic. It really allows us to kind of prove ourselves over again and keep our foot on that gas. So.
Q, what are you noticing that's different that Coach Eco's bringing in?
Considering he's a first year, it's my first time kind of meeting and connecting with him. I feel like I've known him for a year already. Oh, yeah. I feel like he's coached me before. Yeah, sure. And so when I was actually in high school, I actually went through this kind of same transition. I had the similar coach, same coach for 4 years or for 3 years, and then for my last year, I ended up getting a new coach. So I'm kind of used to this transition. But I think he's very understanding. He's very open. Considering the success we had last year, he's very open. But I'm bought into what he's saying. Everyone else is gonna buy into what his game plan is, and I think he's gonna lead us in a very good direction.
Yep. As far as the team goes this year, you guys mentioned to me a bit of turnover in the players. Who else should we be excited about on the team?
Man, we got a lot of guys. Yeah. A lot of guys.
Shout somebody out. Who's showing up in the preseason so far that you're?
I'll say Zach Sloan.
Yep.
When he first came in, he wasn't very happy with minutes and small things like that, position and things like that. But he's always just kind of kept his head down and grinded and did what he needed to do from a team aspect and an individual aspect. And that ultimately led him to be a very good player now, and I think he'll have a big year for us.
Anybody for you, Jaden?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely Zach Sloan. He played a big role last year. Going to have to play an even bigger role this year, just like we all are. But I want to shout out the rest of the returners as well, because they do have to make that big step. And I do see them, even though we're only 2 practices in, already making that big stride as players and as leaders. Logan Barber, Tucker Shiflett, Kevin Weaver, Chris Perkins. Am I missing anyone?
No, you got everybody.
Yeah, those dudes, they've experienced it. They won a championship as well. They've been through the process. They know, how to go through hard days. And I feel like they're doing a really good job of really stepping up and really recognizing what holes need to be filled and kind of getting that job done. So it's only a matter of time when we'll all come together as one.
As far as the future for you two individually goes, what are you looking at after your MBA? You're both getting your MBAs right now. Q, you were talking about being a little bit undecided, but having a little bit of a leaning. What are you looking at right now, or what would the dream be?
Anything that gets me paid, honestly.
Working is a good start.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with my degree, marketing communications with a minor in business and not MBA, I think I can go a lot of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So I just being open minded to anything, anywhere, any company, any organization. There's no limitations for me. I looked into maybe starting my own business or, things like that. So I'm just kind of floating all over the place.
Yeah, you're in that sort of portion of I think that kind of happens for everybody in grad school. Like at some point you've got maybe it's that you finally see all the possibilities. Like you kind of can see the horizon where you'll be out of school, and it's like, man, there are a lot of directions I can go, and it's kind of hard to pick at that point, right? Jaden, how about you?
Yeah, so for the next couple of years, or at least my plans for the next couple of years is after this year, I want to play in the Philippines. I have aspirations of playing over there, whether that be playing a year or two in college or going straight semi-pro or pro. I've really looked into that and been considering that, ever since high school. And, as it's coming up closer and closer, just the excitement is definitely there.
Can we talk a little bit about the Philippines and your heritage? Because I like I told you right before we recorded, read this great article that talked about you played overseas, right? Was that just a tournament or was that a longer?
Yeah, it was a camp tournament kind of thing. Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned your grandfather, your dad, your uncle. Mm-hmm. How big of a role does your Filipino heritage play in just your life?
No, it's everything. It's everything we do, from our mannerisms to our hospitality to how we carry ourselves. But definitely playing in the Philippines, it was such a big culture shock. I'm 100% Filipino, but I wasn't born there. I didn't grow up there. My first time visiting there was a junior in high school, so it was such a big culture shock. I was even there this past summer for about 3 weeks, working out with maybe 10 plus schools. That was amazing. It was crazy. I mean, the style of play over there, the lifestyles over there, it's very humbling, but I love it. And if you learn to kind of embrace that culture and really accept, you for who you are and my heritage, you love it, and I do love it. And that's why I do have big aspirations of going back out there and playing and representing. So
what does that look like, playing in the Philippines, like you're hoping to? You said playing for a school. Does that mean getting another degree? What exactly does that look like?
Well, over there, it's the league is called the UAAP, and it's a big league, and it's pretty much a showcase for all of Asian countries. I would probably take some easier classes and really focus on basketball. But it's pretty much like pros over there. They're getting paid as college students. A lot of them, the big time players, are sponsored by Gatorade, sponsored by Nike, sponsored by Adidas, and they're making a lot of money. And there's a lot of endorsements going on too. But other than the social media or the fame, like the level of play out there is something I really want to get into. And just the physicality of the game, the size over there, just the overall intensity is very high level, and something I want to definitely be around and see myself competing in.
I do have to say I really admire your commitment to it. I'm not sure that I feel like I'd have the courage to pursue something like this, because it is something that there's like a real chance of failure or of
Most definitely.
And it is really admirable that that's something you're so committed to. All right, so before we finish out and I let you go, I have one last question, kind of a generic question, but given that you guys are at the end of a pretty long and intense college journey, I think it's appropriate to ask you, if you could sum up your college journey in one word or phrase, what would it be and why?
For me, I've said this before in front of the team last year when we had our success, was greatness from small beginnings. There might be a term for that, but yeah, greatness from small beginnings. And I really think that we've been such a advocate for that, and we've represented that phrase very well. Especially thanks to Coach Griggs, and we've mentioned before, coming into Mary Baldwin as first-year players in the program. We're very blindsided, and everything was very small for us, and we were just trying to figure things out on the fly. And, it was tough. But being able to just stick together and being comfortable and grow and learn and just continue to succeed all the more. And ultimately win, our conference championship and go to the tournament for like the first time in however many years for Mary Baldwin really showed our greatness. Thanks to Coach Griggs, thanks to, us being bought in. And we definitely did that from a small beginning.
That's a pretty good answer. Q, I'm not sure how you're going to follow it up, but here you go.
If I had to use one word, I'd probably say perseverance. I think throughout my time here, and I think this goes for a lot of people that have been here around a similar time frame as me, struggle is always going to hit, and you can justify it with a lot of different things. You can say, oh, well, it's because of this, but the only way you'll succeed is if you persevere through that struggle. It's almost like being a diamond in the rough. Some people won't be able to persevere like you will be able to. But I just think that this whole journey has just been about persevering through the many different types of challenges that we face, not only as a basketball program, but as individuals living in this community and in this world in general, and the stuff we face every day. You're always going to face a different type of struggle every day. So every day is just a new chance to persevere through the struggle that you might not have persevered through previously.
Dang.
I actually think there's a really interesting, I'm kind of going into my English major brain here, but I never heard somebody talk about that phrase, finding a diamond in the rough, from the perspective of the diamond in the rough. Typically you're talking about finding that diamond hidden in the rough, but you're talking about being a diamond in the rough and having that perseverance, having the energy to withstand what you need to struggle through until you're found.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming around and talking to me today. I'm really excited for this upcoming basketball season. I know you guys are, and I know the community is, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been, a great experience, and I'm glad we got to do this. And, for the MBU community out there, keep your head high. We're coming for a back-to-back. We'll be working, our butts off. So, continue to support us, please, and we'll try to make you guys as proud as we can.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We appreciate everything the university and the community does for us as student athletes. Just want y'all to know that doesn't go unheard or unappreciated. We appreciate everything.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this interview with Jaden Ignacio and Quentin Hart, student athletes and leaders in the Mary Baldwin community. This has been a production of Mary Baldwin University, with music courtesy of Ivy Music via Pixabay and technical assistance, as well as a beautiful podcasting studio provided by the Stanton Innovation Hub. I've been Keith Taylor. Thanks again for listening, and I look forward to the next time.